What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, starting a brand new every Friday single artist deep dive. Gonna listen to every single Tom Waits studio album in order from start to finish. Just finished the Neil Young studio album from start to finish every Friday. Took me like close to a year to do. During the week, I would like do the live albums and other stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do with Tom Waits. I really felt after doing the Neil Young journey that everything Neil Young does makes sense. Like those, what seem like chaotic U-turns and left turns during the 80s now are like, oh no, that all makes complete logical sense. Listening to them in order helped make it make sense. As I listened to them, just getting a little bit of backstory into each album helped make sense. And now Neil Young, it just, this massive 60s to 2025 studio journey just, okay, that makes sense for someone who's living a life that has all artists, it seemed like, should follow that Neil Young journey because as you get older, things change. I listen to different music now than I listened to when I was in my teens or my 20s or my 30s. You would hope that artists would make different music. And we know that Tom Waits is eventually going to take quite a little detour after he starts off his career with what is essentially a jazzy singer-songwriter, cocktail lounge, piano-based, little bit of folksy, little bit of bluesy vibe. So today's album, I'm going to rank them as I go. Obviously, this one will be ranked to number one for now, is his very first album, 1973's Closing Time. Yeah, this is just sort of, I think of the song, Billy Joel's song, Piano Man, and the version of like, even though that song takes on this little almost like piano bar type, play us the song, you're the piano man type happy vibe. I think when Billy Joel wrote it, he probably wrote it about someone that's like a Tom Waits type singer-songwriter sitting at a piano in a cocktail lounge I grew up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s. I actually grew up in Southern California, in Orange County, but we were in Los Angeles a lot. And pretty much from like the tip of the San Fernando Valley all the way down to like the tip of Orange County, it's big, one large suburban sprawl. And there are these really long boulevards that late at night, nobody's on them. They stretch for miles. You got the streetlights, maybe some fog. And there would be these jazz clubs, or these, not like these bouncing, swinging jazz clubs, but like some guy sitting at a piano playing jazz standards while, people, businessmen or people cheating on their wives or lonely people would like, nurse cocktails and just kind of like huddle in the dark. That is very much the vibe that this album, Closing Time, has. It sounds like, and I'm pretty sure this is Tom Waits' probably actual experience, if I'm not mistaken, like he came out of that Los Angeles piano scene, that Los Angeles singer-songwriter scene. And these places, there was one by, when I grew up, there was one like right down the street. They don't have windows. There's never people in the parking lot during the day. It's only late at night. And it really feels like this album is very much Tom Waits' version of that kind of performer, only he's bringing original songs that are absolutely killing it. But a lot of the lyrics reference closing time. A couple of the songs specifically mention, hey, it's closing time. What am I going to do for another drink? Are you and I going to like end up together at the end of this night? I don't want to fall in love with you, but maybe we can like have some fun. There's a loneliness. One of the songs is called Lonely. There's a loneliness to this album. There's a very late night vibe. There's a very much like, listen to some guy sing torch songs and nurse your cocktail for as long as possible. 3 of my all-time favorite Tom Waits songs are on this album, but it is a much simpler, more straightforward, tamer version of, I think, of what Tom Waits will ultimately become, even as he continues on his career for the next several albums and kind of continues in the same vein. His next couple albums really are like, this album, this debut album is the version of Tom Waits in which he was playing every Thursday night at a club, right? And a handful of people would be there and he's knocking out these songs. The next album, maybe he moved to Saturday night. He's a little more of a draw. The next album is like, oh no, we're going to move to this big venue and sell tickets and put on a big show. So you can kind of see the progression and still maintain this sort of like club vibe that I think this album wonderfully, wonderfully captures and represents. It's all mostly piano based. A couple songs have like an acoustic guitar. There's always like a typical like really light like jazz band, light drums. We're not like rocking hard. One of the songs is more of a bouncy, almost like Stray Cats type. You could see like Stray Cats doing this like jazzy little song, Ice Cream Man. Very, yeah, singer-songwriter, but with that very like late night drunken vibe. The Zappa connection, I was going to mention that earlier, is when he was touring. I don't think it was the tour for this album. I think it was the tour for the following album. He opened up for Frank a couple times in California, I know for sure. And then he would sit in on the Mother set. And I don't think he was opening for Frank in Boston. I think he was playing at like a neighboring club. Maybe he was opening for him. But there's a Boston show, November 74, in which Tom Waits comes out right before Dupree's Paradise. The band starts playing Old 55, which is the lead-off track on this album, a song that the Eagles also covered. I heard the Eagles version before I ever heard this version. And they come out, they play Old 55. They don't sing it, they just play the music. And Tom Waits tells a couple jokes. Tells sort of an offhand story that turns into a joke. Then he tells an actual like joke. It's called 12 Inches. I'm not going to tell the joke because a lot of the success of the joke is the telling of it. Tom Waits is a great joke teller. It is on YouTube. Boston, 1174. Just skip to the Tom Waits joke part. It's absolutely fantastic. But that's the Zappa connection. Zappa was very like introduced him as like a hobo or a bum or something. He wasn't very like nice in his introduction. Very much Zappa's introduction of Waits plays into like sort of the drunken nature of the piano man at a bar late at night in like, you know, some Los Angeles like dive bar. So anyways, what do we have on here? I think we have a dozen songs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, a dozen songs. Last one is a nice little instrumental to close out the album. The opening track is Old 55, which is just an absolute gem of a song. The melody, just the chill vibe. It is a great opening number. Absolutely fantastic. I think it's mostly piano, a little acoustic guitar. I think we got a stand-up bass action going here. Some really nice drums. The Eagles covered it. Just an absolutely killer of a song. Musically, lyrically, just wonderful. Second song, another home run. We got back-to-back. We got lead-off home runs right here. I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You. Guitar's a little more prominent in this, kind of leading the entire thing. Kind of a gentle, folky vibe. Nice little lilt to it. There is a reference to actual closing time in the lyrics. But this is one of those end of the night, the things are closing. Hey, man, you're kind of attractive. I hope I don't fall in love with you. Maybe we should go off and like, you know, have some fun ourselves. I hope you don't fall in love with me. But maybe I will, maybe I won't, but no pressure on this, but, you know, can we have a good time? Great melody, great song, great vibe, awesome 1-2 punch to this album. Next song is called Virginia Avenue. Little electric guitar in there, but it's a little more like just light. We're not like rocking out or anything. And we got some trumpet. We got some trumpet on a number of songs on here, which definitely nails sort of the jazzy club vibe for sure. This song we get another reference to the club. I think the club, Harold's Club, is closing. Another reference to closing time. He's walking around town late at night. This very like vagabond wandering the streets of LA late at night type vibe. The bars are all closing when this song is set. Nice little chill trumpet infused jazz number. Next one is Old Shoes and Picture Postcards, acoustic guitar, a little folky vibe. Farewell to the Girl with the Sun in Her Eyes, a nice little folky song. Both these, like I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You and Old Shoes and Picture Postcards, probably mostly because of the fact that most of it is carried by an acoustic guitar. I think Dylan probably could have done both of these songs and it would have felt like a Dylan song. There's a definite like sort of folk root to both of these songs, but the Tom Waits vocal, just his presence, you know, kind of points him in another direction slightly. Midnight Lullaby, more trumpet, piano, a nice little ballad vibe. We get a little lullaby at the end of it. I think that it's kind of sounds like that Mama's Gonna Buy You a Mockingbird ballad or lullaby gets quoted at the end of this, but this is a lullaby. It's a very calming lullaby type song. And then the last song on the first half of the album, another just almost a heartbreaker. It's called Martha. It's about maybe an older version of Tom Waits or an older person calling up a former lover and kind of reminiscing, and you're older now and I'm older now, but those were the days of wine and roses. And it's kind of heartbreaking. And it's one of those that when I first heard this album, I don't think I heard this album until I was in college. Even as like a 19-year-old, I was like, oh yeah, there's some just getting old, nostalgic, raw emotion in here that as I get older and listen to the song hits even harder. I just think this is just a gut punch of a tearjerker of a ballad that just elevates the entire album just to like a whole nother level. Fantastic song. Martha. Rosie, another brokenhearted, sort of crooning at the moon type thing, piano-led ballad. Lonely, the loneliest song on this album by far. Slow piano vibe, sparse. This is like not even an end of the night type song, because at the end of the night type song, I would imagine whoever's on the stage at this club that you're at, and it's like 1:45 and they're coming and collecting the drinks and they got one more song. There's a little more energy in that last song because they're like, all right, I'm done, I get to go home. This is like 1:15, you still got a half hour left and you barely got energy to play. It's just this and no one is in the bar. Like there's two people in the bar and they're only there to drink and they're really not there for you, but you still got to keep playing. It's a lonely song. It's worthy of its title, Lonely. Next we get Ice Cream Man, which is that's the one that might be like a little Stray Catsy. You could see them doing this. It's your Ice Cream Man. You know what the Ice Cream Man does. Some jumpy sort of finger snapping jazz, probably the peppiest thing on this album. A little Stray Cat swing on it. The piano is really melodic and has a nice lead, but once you like get into the lyrics and you kind of know what the song is about, there's a little bit of like creepiness to it. Like, you attract people with, honey and not vinegar. And there's a little bit of that honey, but the honey's not there for good reasons because the Ice Cream Man's trying to like, come over here, I got things. So anyways, but it's a great song. It's sort of I don't know if it's definitely not a much needed vibe, but it's a nice, slightly up tempo shift in vibe that I think works well where it does, like halfway through the second half of the album. Then we get Little Trip to Heaven, On the Wings of Your Love. Trumpet comes in. It's probably the loungiest song on here as far as being like a lounge, just in like a jazz lounge and kicking back. But it works, especially after Ice Cream Man. I think the pairing of the two is nice. Grapefruit Moon, Lost, Forlorn, Lonely. Definitely not as lonely as Lonely. Piano ballad. And then the album closes out with Closing Time. We got some trumpets, some nice stand-up bass work, some piano. It's an instrumental. The melody that or the chords that the piano keeps playing seems to kind of like flirt with old 55-ness, almost like it's a callback to the opening track. And it gives this song sort of a nice like album ending sort of vibe that for me always wants me to just start. I just want to start over the album and revisit it, especially since Old 55 is such a banger. But it's a good closer. But really like this. I think it very much reminds me of 1 a.m. driving through some like random LA sort of suburban incorporated city, driving down some long boulevard and you pass a club and there's maybe 6 cars outside, some twinkly lights, and it's got a sort of jazz adjacent name, and you walk in and there's going to be like booths that you can lounge in and there's cocktails, and the whole thing gives me that vibe. But it's really good songwriting, some heartbreakers in here. Tom Waits' voice is just fantastic. It's definitely not as raw and ragged and as it would eventually become, but it's got that little rough edge to it, that gruff edge. This is definitely like him taking whatever he was doing in LA at the time and just sort of like polishing it up for a studio album. But I love this album. I think it's great. I think it's a great listen. It's very much of a singular vibe. It's probably, there's going to be better albums as we go down the line, but this is a winner. This is a keeper. And there are some absolute just masterful songs on here. There's nothing that's bad at all. And yeah, I highly recommend this. Yeah. And so that's all I got. That's the first Tom Waits album. We'll do album number 2 next week and go on down the line for several months until we get them all. We'll get some live albums. We'll get some orphans on the way and all those things. But leave me your thoughts on this album, Tom Waits. What do you think of LA jazz lounges in the 70s? I don't care. Talk about whatever. The Eagles, another reason to do the Eagles, another connection. Gonna have to do that one day. But anyways, that's all I got for now. Subscribe, like, share, comment. You know those things. And thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.